Hello friends, how are you doing today? My name is Mary, this is Happily Ever Esch, and today we are going to be talking about comfort reads, comfort books, books that give us a little bit of hope, make us feel extra cozy, because I think we could all use some comfort right now. So let's just hop on into it, shall we, friends? I'm drinking Earl Grey from Home is Where the Heart Is mug, because home is where we are, is where we should be to help stop the spread of the coronavirus. So it felt very appropriate. And yes, there's just nothing better than warm tea. It's been rather gloomy as well here in the Midwest. So anything that we can do to keep our spirits up. I know that it has been a tough time. Lots of, canceled plans, canceled hopes for, and I think that that can be really hard. Also a lot of fear, obviously, about getting sick, about loved one getting sick. And there's just like a lot of emotions that lots of people are feeling right now. And I just want to validate, feel the emotions. And I would love to chat about anything down in the comments below that you need to talk about. Yeah, it's just a hard time. So yeah, I want to be here on the bookish internets, share books that bring me comfort, and also just some things that have been bringing me joy that have been good for my heart. So let's just do it. We'll talk about the books first. At the end, I'll talk about some more personal stuff, so if you're just here for the books. I will also link some Bookstagrammers and some booktubers who have been sharing some really encouraging and fun and comforting things in this time of social distancing and staying home. So yeah, just some inspiration for this video, but also just things that I've been enjoying. Though I will say I've been trying not to just get in an internet hole, because I can definitely do that and kind of, choose to not engage with anything but the internet, and I don't always think that's the most healthy for myself either. So yes, let's talk about books. So what is a comfort read? I've just kind of been thinking about this, and I think there's kind of a couple parts for me. Definitely books that feel cozy to me. I'm definitely someone who reads for atmosphere. So a book that has a very enveloping and heavy sense of place or atmosphere is something that brings me a lot of comfort. It's something that I can really escape to. I don't always need a super built up fantasy world to escape, or a world that's not like my own, which those are great. I love stories like that, but just something that has a very visceral sense of place. And so for that, a lot of the times is cozy mysteries for me, or both of these mysteries I wouldn't, they're not super cozy. I kind of put them in between like a cozy and more of like a procedural hard-boiled mystery, but they both are very enveloping in their setting. So my most beloved mystery series would have to be the Armand Gamache mystery series. This is The Glass House, which is one of the more recent ones. I'm not this far in the series. I don't own all the books though. I listen to a lot of them on audio and get them out from my local library, which is sadly going to be closing here tomorrow. But I did want to say a lot of the times the online resources are still available, so I definitely look into those audiobooks, ebooks, movies, things like that you can do digitally, so definitely check that out. But yes, this I actually purchased. It's an ex-library copy. I don't think it ever actually went to circulation, but it's beautiful. I want to show you the end papers with the 3 pines. I mean, absolutely beautiful. That feels very cozy and lovely as well. But yes, I love the Armand Gamache mystery series. Like I said, the books have such a heavy sense of place. They're set in 3 Pines, which is this tiny village in Canada, and it feels very isolated, but it's also just very lovely and warm and cozy, and the characters just become friends, and I absolutely love these books. Like I said, it's not total cozy, but the mystery isn't typically too heavy, and the writing is really beautiful and enveloping, and the narrator, I'll put his name here, he is phenomenal. I know it's sometimes hard to sit down and focus on reading, but I think audiobooks while you're doing tasks that your mind can kind of wander can be a wonderful way to get reading in, and also escape a little bit. And yes, I definitely recommend these books on audio. So the Armand Gamache mystery series will always and forever be a favorite and a comfort read. The next one that I would like to suggest is the Maisie Dobbs mystery series by Jacqueline Winspear. This is a historical mystery series. We're following our titular character, Maisie Dobbs. She's kind of like an investigator, but there's also a little bit of a otherworld, like mystic bit about her character too. So they're not totally 100% believable. There is kind of this like magical element to it, but it's very loose. I'm not a big magical realism person myself, so I wouldn't put these in that category, but there is kind of like an otherworldly aspect to Maisie. These are set after World War I, and a lot of them do have to do with war and veterans from World War I. But like I said, again, the sense of place in these books is so heavy and enveloping, and just you feel like you're being wrapped up in that sense of place when you're reading these books. Again, the audiobooks of these are really good. I will put the narrator that I've listened to here. They might switch between the books, but yes, the audiobooks for these are really, really great, and I would highly suggest if you're looking for kind of a book to get sucked into. But both of the characters in these two mystery series are just such a comfort to me. All right, let's move on to some nonfiction. I feel like nonfiction can kind of not usually get put in the comfort category or the kind of cozy reading, but I have two that I definitely think would hit the nail right on the head for this category. And the first being A Walk in the Woods by Bill Bryson. This book is funny, it's informative. Again, it has a very strong sense of place. Bill Bryson has decided that he's going to walk on the Appalachian Trail, and it's his adventures, but you're also learning about the trail, learning about him and his friend that he goes on this walk with, and it's just one of my favorite nonfictions. I think about it all the time. I definitely want to reread it very soon. Again, the audiobook is really phenomenal for this one, but yes, I haven't read any more Bill Bryson, but I can see him being a great kind of comfort author. He is funny, but he's also really informative, and I just feel like you get sucked into his writing. So this is definitely one that I would say is a big comfort read for me and that I would recommend. And then another, I believe this is nonfiction, memoir-y, and that's James Herriot, All Creatures Great and Small. Oh yeah, the classic memoirs of a Yorkshire country vet. Again, so funny, have such a strong sense of place. You get wrapped up in his stories and the people that he encounters. But yeah, there's just a lot of also hope. I get a lot of hope and a lot of like faith restored in humanity. There's just a lot of heart in this book, and I can't think of a better book that would bring more comfort. And there's also a ton in these series. I might pick up the next book in this series, which I've been saying for years that I'm going to read. I read this years ago. But yes, there's a lot to get through in this series, and I also know that there is a TV show that I haven't watched, so I can't say much about it, but I know people absolutely adore as well. So yes, pick up some James Herriot if you need a good giggle and a good cry. You can do it all in this book, laugh and cry, and I love that. All right, the rest of these books are books I would put in the more classics category and are kind of very personal to me. They feel very comforting to me just because I've identified and loved these books so well. And so the first would be Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. This is the ultimate comfort read to me. It's probably the book that I've loved most consistently throughout my life and for like the longest time. I read this as I don't know, a tween, a middle grader, and have reread and just absolutely adore Jane. She is a friend. Again, there's a really strong sense of place and atmosphere in this book, but it's just something that you can escape into, and it just tugs at the heartstrings. If you somehow don't know what Jane Eyre is about, we're following Jane, who is orphaned and lives with her aunt, I believe, and she just has a very terrible terrible and hard life, and we're kind of following her journey from moving with her aunt to then going and living in an orphanage, and then to go on and be a governess. There's a mystery aspect to this book. There is like relationship aspect in this book. It's just lovely. It's a lot of people's favorite book, and I am right there with you. I definitely think a great classic to get sucked into. Not because it's always happy, but because there is a lot of hope and spirit in this book. All right, and then for my favorite author, I would, it would be wrong of me not to mention Elizabeth Gaskell. So I have North and South here, and then also Wives and Daughters. I love Elizabeth Gaskell. I think she's smart. I think she writes really compelling classics. Her books just suck you in. She has great characters that you fall in love with. And yeah, I would definitely recommend these two. I've also read Mary Barton, which is a little bit more of a page turner, fast-paced book. It was her first book that she wrote, and I think you can kind of tell, but it's still was a solid 4-star read for me. But these two books I absolutely love. They bring me a lot of comfort and joy, and I don't think you could go wrong with picking up either one of those books if you just needed something to get sucked into. But yes, Elizabeth Gaskell will always and forever be a comfort read for me, just because I have so much love for her. All right, two more. Another comfort read that I recently reread and adored is A Tree Grows in Brooklyn by Betty Smith. Again, a book that's not without its own sorrow and sadness, but a book that has such a strong female protagonist, and it's a story about family and about love, about growing up, and like I said, there is a lot of sadness and tragedy in this book, but there's a lot of hope too. So this is one that I absolutely love, and it is such a comfort just to have it near and to know. You know, there's books that you look on your shelves and you're just glad to have read it. You know it has added something to you, and this is definitely one of those books that I have read and reread and will reread in the future. And then last but certainly not least, a new comfort. And I don't think that Middle Grade March could have come at a better time. There's something so hopeful and comforting about middle grade and again, they're the stories that a lot of times have a lot of sorrow, but have so much hope, and I just appreciate a story like that, and nothing says that more to me than Anne of Green Gables by L.M. Montgomery. Anne is a recent favorite for me, but one who has burrowed her way deeply into my heart and soul, and I just love the resiliency of Anne. I love the setting. I just recently listened to Anne of the Island by L.M. Montgomery, and it was, yeah, I started listening to the audiobook and I felt like I was just entering into this whole new world that just felt so beautiful and so much like home. So if you're looking to escape to just a beautiful, wonderful, light place, it just feels so light, I would definitely say read some Anne of Green Gables. I haven't read any more L.M. Montgomery, but just the way she writes, I can imagine that many of her other books bring that hope and comfort. So that's my little stack I wanted to share. Just wanted to share some light on my channel. I'd love to know books that bring you comfort. And I'd also love to know kind of what kinds of books, or do these books still have sad bits? I think a lot of times we can think comfort and want to totally escape that, but I think some of the best stories, we overcome adversity and trials, and they give us that hope. So yes, that's my stack. Some other things that have been bringing me a lot of joy, or at least joy in the time that we're in. I'll put in a little picture. We had our first live streaming church service, and it's really sad not to gather as a body, as a Christian believer who I really value that time spent with other believers, but to just be so grateful for technology and the ability to still hear the Word of God spoken, and to get to do that with my sweet babe crawling all over the floor. It was a joy, and so I'm just really grateful for a church who cares enough to say, hey, we need to postpone, but also we're going to do everything that we can to still keep you connected. So Very grateful for that and grateful for fresh air. It's been chilly, but we've still been trying to at least go outside for a little bit of time and breathe in that fresh air, hear the birds chirping and singing. I'm just grateful for people in charge who are diligently getting us the information that we need, whether that's from my local work body and the things that they're doing to try to keep us safe, all the way up to the federal government and everyone in between. I'm grateful for access to that information and for people who are working hard. I'm also really grateful just for food in our pantry and you know, having the ability to go to the grocery store and the workers who are keeping our stores clean and stocked. I'm just really thankful for that. Yeah, and I'm thankful for audiobooks and ebooks and access to our libraries even when they are closed. So yeah, those are some things that have been giving me hope and joy. I'd love to know if you have anything that you'd like to share. Let's chat about it down in the comments below. I'm thinking about you guys, I'm praying, and yeah, just for safety and just wisdom. So yes, friends, I think that's all I have to say today. I hope that you are doing as well as you can be, and I will talk to y'all in another video very soon. Bye.
Thief in the palace. That's what I said. Hey! What have you seen, young?